To understand the difference between bitmap drawing and vector drawing, let's go to Mr. Google and ask them, and I gather some pictures that will help us to explain it. Here we have a vector and here we have a bitmap drawing. The vector says I have sharp edges. See, we have sharp edges and really smooth. But here the bitmap, I am fuzzy. We see a lot of fuzziness here. Okay, let's go in more details. Vectors are based on mathematical formulas and can be scaled infinitely without any loose inequality. Wow, see here, when we zoom in or scale it up, you can see it's still sharp and lose no quality. Every line and shape has a value that changes when the image expands. Good. But in bitmaps, rely on series of squares blocks called pixels. See, these squares are called pixels. Arranged on a grid. The quality of the image depends on the amount of pixels per square inch. The more pixels, the better the quality. Good. And you can see here, when we zoom in, it's really bad and fuzzy quality. And let's see here, the vector graphics that we talked about, the mathematical one. See, this is the 100 scale. But when we scale it up, you can see it's still nice and sharp. But the bitmap, or we can call it raster graphics, when we scale it up, it's really jagged and fuzziness and pixels. And actually this concept gives us the main difference between Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop, because Photoshop is specific to bitmap graphics and Illustrator is specific to vector graphic. So if we back to our toonboom, when you make a new scene, or when you open the toonboom in the first time, you will see here we have one drawing. Actually this one is vector drawing. Let's go to ellipse and draw one, then fill it. And as you see now, we are in 50%. Let's make a new drawing. How can we make a new drawing? We have many ways. You can click on this plus and choose drawing from here, or you can just click for this shortcut, Control R. Let's try it. Control plus R. We can add new layer. Let's close it. We can from here also close it. And if you see this one, you can just click on it and we can add drawing. Also, we can go to insert and choose drawing from here. Okay, we have 4 ways to add a new drawing. As you see now, in a standard way, we have the line art and the color art are vectors. Now let's change them to bitmap. You can add, or you can just add and close it to close this window, but let's give it a name. We're gonna give it bitmap. Click add and close. And how can we change this name? Just click on it and click on the name, and this actually this vector, then click enter to accept it. Now in bitmap, click on it and let's draw another circle. And as you see here, the system of coloring is changed, right? And choose white, be sure to choose it and draw it, then fill it with white also. Go to select mode. As you see now, the both are the same, and especially when we render it, it will look like this. They are really the same. Let's go back to OpenGL and let's zoom in. Now this is the vector one. We can zoom in until 20% or even more. We have 80,000% until you see the curve as a straight line. It's really clean and sharp because this is a vector. it's mathematical one. But here, as you see, it's the bitmap. See, so when you zoom in, we start to see the pixels. Okay, so this is the difference between them. And now the question, when I should use the bitmap and when I should use the vector one, and is there a difference between the tools of this and this? Actually, no. The drawing tools are the same for both of them. Just the difference is in drawing type. But when I should use the bitmap and when I should use the vector, and why? Actually, to give an answer, let's go to Mr. Google and see the difference between them. It will be more clearly to see rather than talking. If we search or look up for vector graphics in images, Google, you can see now the images is really sharp and has a clean color and very contrast color. So this is the vector, how it's look. But when we go to bitmap, look up for digital art, or you can type in digital paint, because most of digital painting are in bitmap. So you can see the difference. They are really more realistic, and even realistic photos are bitmap, not vectors. So you see, we have much more variating in colors, and we have very complex scenes. This is bitmap, and we can achieve the reality with bitmap, but with vector we cannot achieve it. And if you see here, we have a digital art drawing. Let's see it. This actually it's done by bitmap, and if you see here, the shadows and the colors are really dirty. Okay, but we can achieve that in vector, because really now vector nowadays is really advanced. We can achieve that, but look, it's look cartoony. We cannot achieve a realistic look in vector. Okay, vector drawing. So now we can understand the difference between them, and when I should use one instead of another in this example. Because if I want to draw this photo in vector, is really wrong choice, because it will take a long time and it will take a lot of RAM, so it's really hard to animate it. But in bitmap, it's much easier and it will take less RAM. So when you wanted to draw a complicated photos or scene, just use bitmap. But when you wanted to draw a simple or a clean or clear photos like this way, or characters in this way, of course choose vector graphics, because it has really good advantage, because we can has a flexibility in scaling, right? And if you know the logo design, always use vector graphics, because you know the logo might be on a pen or might be on a big car, so it has to be scalable. So that's why we use vectors in logos. So this is the main difference between them, and this is why and when we should use one instead of other. And if you see here, we have a clean, I think I put it here, we have a clean example of the two difference between them. In Japanese anime, you can always see the difference. You can see the characters in vector graphic, okay, but the background's always in digital or in bitmap graphic. See the difference between them? More realistic, and there is no sharp edges, but here really sharp and clean colors and strong contrast in coloring. So that is the difference between them. We should know it, and you should know which kind of drawings you will use according to your drawing type, okay? If it is like this or if it is like this. See you.